Welcome to the Fashion Translator. I'm Claire, your host. Together we explore how AI and innovation are reshaping the fashion industry through creativity, technology, and global partnership. For today's episode, I'm thrilled to welcome Fatima Anwar, the driving force behind ethical and sustainable sourcing. She leads global apparel supply chain solution with a focus on ethics, sustainability, and efficiency. Fatima, welcome to the show. Could you introduce yourself for our listeners?
Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited about our conversation. I am the founder and CEO of Ethical and Sustainable Sourcing. We are a supply chain consultancy that creates overseas supply chains for brands, as well as consults on sustainability, as well as social and labor compliance. My background, however, is a little bit different. I started my career in advertising. I am a data led strategist, and I worked for IPG media brands, WPP, on major Fortune 500 brands such as ExxonMobil, Coca Cola, BMW, USPS. And you could say my love of data led insights and building cross collaborative relationships really began there. And when I visited a major manufacturing facility in Bangladesh, my skill set sort of had a new purpose. And I founded ESS with the hopes of creating a company that highlighted more sustainable and more ethical practices. And here we are.
That's great. When we think about your focus on ethical and sustainable sourcing, what were at the core of your motivation to prioritize these values in the global supply chain?
I'm originally from Bangladesh. My family was in manufacturing. My grandfather started a knit manufacturing facility many, many years ago. So I was already really familiar with manufacturing, and I've seen firsthand the impact that these jobs have on workers who primarily tend to be women, and they provide a lot of financial freedom and social freedom. And so it was really important to me to partner with manufacturers that took care of their workers, protected them, and cared for their safety and welfare. When you look at essentially ethical sourcing, you cannot detangle it from sustainable sourcing as well. By sustainability, we mean creating better, greener production processes, right? But at the same time, it also creates safer production processes.
Yeah.
So, looking at systems that take care of the workers, we're also looking at systems that take care of the environment in which the production process is taking place. And as a result of that, our goal long term is to not only ensure that we have high quality products, but that we continue that production of high quality products moving forward in the future and keep jobs locally and ensure that the workers are safe and taken care of so that there is long term potential to all of the stakeholders. Our goal at ESS is to have a positive impact at the intersection of ethics, sustainability, and manufacturing.
That is a very holistic approach to sustainability that goes beyond just the product. We can see that everything has been taken into consideration. When it comes to transparency, it seems to be a cornerstone at ESS. How do you ensure traceability and accountability in such a complex supply chain?
I think the first and foremost is that there needs to be buy in from all of the stakeholders within the supply chain, right? Like including your manufacturers. And of course, brands want that transparency for a variety of different reasons, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, what we do is we are constantly looking at different data sources to help us measure and verify all the activities that are taking place within the manufacturing facility. So it's trust built on almost measurable data, right? And we
Hmm.
evaluate everything from their own internal supply chains to how they're running their production floors to how they're navigating and living up to their promises that they've made to their workers and their communities. And then ultimately, we add another layer of verification, which is we have boots on the ground who will
Uh-huh.
go and be another set of eyes and ears for us and help us again, like have a lot of different accountability from a lot of different point of view. But The way we look at it at ESS is that it is a team effort, and we all have to have a stake in it and buy in and belief that this is the right way to do business in order for us to actually be able to maintain and provide transparency across very complex supply chains that often are large and in potentially different countries.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like it's a very vast network that you're overseeing between the factories and the mill. What strategy has been most effective when it comes to both driving operational excellence, but also considering social impact?
I can maybe divide this question up into two, right? One is
Hmm.
operational excellence, and then the other is maybe social impact, right? So, when it comes to things like operational excellence, we take a mindset of growth and communication. Because what we want to do is we want to ensure continued operational excellence. We want
Yeah.
to, work with our stakeholders, take our learnings, create actionable insights, and then implement those actionable insights moving forward. Because supply
Hmm.
chains, like other things, are very dynamic and they move
Yeah.
very quickly. So, in order
Yeah.
to maintain that excellence, it has to be a dynamic process. It has to be a measured and managed process with a lot of communication. And I think the second part, when it comes to social impact, honestly, again, that sort of sustained, measurable change is really important because things change, environments change, requirements change
Yeah.
over time. So we believe that, for instance, when it comes to things like, fair wages, on time payment,
Yeah.
anti harassment, maternity leave policy, we want to first ensure that our partners are following all local and international labor laws, but also working with, say, compliance companies who can do regular audits so that we can measure progress season over season, year over year, and
Uh-huh.
create more accountability, more transparency as we gain more insight and knowledge into our own production processes.
That's amazing. You mentioned that things move really quickly. That's
Mhm.
definitely true for it's one of the key points for fashion industry. Speed to market is really crucial. How does ESS deliver efficiency without compromising on everything that we spoke about, sustainability, coming from the condition of the employee and the environment, all of this?
I think here planning ahead of time and setting expectations very clearly is really important. We are living with very tight deadlines in the industry that we're
Yeah.
operating in. However, if we can implement some foresight, some real planning, then we can allocate the time to either suss out more sustainable, shipping and logistics options,
Yeah.
or at least be able to take advantage of them. When it comes to shipping and logistics, the good news is the sustainable option is the cheaper option, which is sea freight, especially if you're looking at longer distance transportation. And here, if you can pre plan effectively in partnership
Yeah.
with your brands as well as your manufacturers, then you can carve out those maybe 30 or 40 days that would be required so that you can take advantage of sea freight. And that's essentially one way that we would advise our clients to be sustainable when it comes to shipping your products.
Yeah, I think forecasting is definitely an important part to make sure that everything can align. If we think about the added cost that can sometimes come with sustainability, how do you convince brand that ethical sourcing can align with profitability?
We don't necessarily convince our clients. There is a lot of demand for sustainability coming from consumers. There's a lot of regulatory tailwind. And now there has been so much information and discussion about the impact
Yeah.
of production that there is a lot of advocacy sometimes within the brands themselves to be aware of and to mitigate the impact that they're having on their production process. So part of it is just now the cost of doing business. How I
Mhm.
see ESS in that process is that we are the bridge builders, we're the connectors, and we're the illuminators. We help bring in options that the clients may not have otherwise had access to or known about. And we help create systems with them and for them that tend to be efficient as well as cost effective as they're balancing their priorities.
That's enlightening indeed. If we think about technology and AI that are taking more and more space in our everyday life, but also when it comes to sourcing or logistic, how is ESS leveraging these tools to optimize operation?
Yeah, this is a really exciting time to be in the supply chain space. We have a lot of new technology coming out, and some of the technology that I'm the most excited about is inventory management, demand planning, but also AI that's helping track risk within your supply chain. And that
Yeah.
could be environmental risk, climate change risk. There's also emergent AI companies that are tracking human rights risks
Yeah.
and also
Wow.
wins across the supply chain. And so all of that is really exciting. We don't have any clear winners yet, but there are a lot of really incredible players in the market now more than ever. And I'm
Mm.
excited to see how it shapes out and how it will inform a lot of our decisions moving forward.
Yes, that's for sure. And it's definitely changing fast. There's new things coming, lightning speed. Every day we see new emerging tools or improvements on the tool that are already existing. I couldn't agree more. Like it's very exciting today and tomorrow and in the next month and the next year. There's a lot of exciting things to come.
Yeah.
When it comes to running your business, what has most of your focus right now?
Right now, we're very focused on regulatory tailwinds. We are focused on tariffs, understanding and navigating them with and for our clients. We are also keeping a very close eye on different regulations around, again, environmental compliance, social compliance. In the recent few months, some have scaled back. However, we are going to largely see a lot more compliance from a trends perspective continue
Mhm.
over the next few years as we have
Yeah.
more disruptions that we're dealing with because of climate change and pollutants coming out of the production process. So, our key focus right now is keeping up with these regulatory tailwinds and advising our clients on how best to navigate some of these uncertain times together.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah.
key for the
Yeah.
future coming. And
Yeah.
if we are looking ahead in the next 3 to 5 years, like you mentioned compliance, but is there other growth opportunity or innovation or market to expand on that you're excited for?
Yeah, so over the next few years, we are hoping to expand our global partnership footprint. We are keeping a very close eye on emerging markets and keeping an eye on which of these players would likely meet our standards for quality and efficiency so that we have more options for our clients. And then another part of it is that we hope to expand into other categories beyond fashion and apparel. What has happened in this landscape is that over the last 2 decades, there has been a tremendous growth in compliance. There's been a tremendous scrutiny on these supply chains. As a result, there's also been tremendous growth and tremendous learning, which I believe could be really beneficial to other types of supply chains in other industries. The constituents and stakeholders are now starting to say, hey, this is really important. We need to start paying attention to our supply chain. So we hope
Mhm.
to bring that knowledge to other areas as well and strengthen our overall understanding and approach to supply chains and sustainability.
It's so true. Once you have like a winning formula, it can be applied to many other. Which kind of industry are you looking into?
So we don't have like a fixed list. There's a whole bunch of industries that we're exploring right now. But once I'm ready to talk about it, I'm definitely going to be coming to you, one of the first people.
So for sure, we'll keep an eye and an ear on what goes on for ESS. For our listener that would like to connect with Fatima, all the link and handle will be in the description. Fatima, thank you so much for joining me today.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for having me. What a great conversation.
Yes, my pleasure.